Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a massive challenge that businesses are facing everywhere, and that's how to turn the incredible promise of AI into something you can actually see on the bottom line. Real, measurable results.
Okay, let's just start with a pretty stark number. This one comes from MIT research. For all the hype, all the investment, all the work coming into it, only a tiny fraction of AI projects, we're talking just 5%, ever actually make it out of the lab and into the real world.
So that really begs the question, right? For any leader watching, you've got to ask, what is going on here? Why are so many of these brilliant ideas and really promising pilots just getting stuck?
Well, this phenomenon, it has a name. We call it the AI adoption gap. It's that chasm between wanting to use AI and actually getting real value from it. So in this explainer, we're going to break down a framework that's designed to help you and your organization bridge that gap for good.
So, how do we fix this? Look, the solution isn't some single magical piece of tech. It's really about building a strong, stable foundation. And that foundation rests on 4 key strategic pillars.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by digging just a little deeper into that adoption gap. Then we'll walk through each of those 4 pillars that make up the solution. And we'll wrap up with how you can get started on your own journey. All right, first up, Pillar 1, identify impact. This is all about cutting through the noise and asking a really simple question. Where can AI deliver the most significant, tangible value to our business, like right now? So instead of chasing these big, speculative moonshots, the companies that are actually winning with AI are focusing on practical, proven applications, like the ones you see here. And notice something important. Each one isn't just a cool idea. It's tied directly to a clear business metric that spells out what success actually looks like.
For a perfect example of this, let's talk about Magellan TV. They're a documentary streaming service, and they had a huge ambition. They wanted to expand their global reach. The problem? Localizing all that content for international audiences was just incredibly expensive and super slow. So by applying AI to that very specific problem, they achieved a staggering 94% reduction in their localization costs. I mean, let's be clear, that is not a small improvement. That's a complete game changer for their entire business model.
And this is how they did it. By automating their dubbing and translation pipeline, they literally slashed costs from $18 a minute all the way down to just $1. So you see, this wasn't just some cost-saving exercise. This was the key that unlocked their entire global expansion strategy.
And that brings us perfectly to our second pillar, measure value. Because let's face it, if you can't measure it, you can't prove it, and you certainly can't improve it.
Before you can ever show an improvement, you have to know where you're starting from. So capturing your current performance on metrics like these, it's absolutely essential. If you don't, you're just guessing. This is the only way to know for sure if your AI project is delivering real results or if it's just creating more work.
Okay, let's look at another real-world example. A company called OnPhase. They were, and I'm not exaggerating, drowning in paperwork. They were manually processing over 10,000 invoices every single month. It was a massive operational bottleneck for them.
So they focused their AI solution on intelligent document processing, and by doing that, they unlocked an incredible $3 million in annual savings.
And here's the crucial part. That $3 million number, it wasn't just a guess. It was calculated directly against the baseline they established, the original cost to process a single invoice. That hard number is what proved the immense, undeniable value of the project to the entire organization. Now, technology is only ever half the equation. Our third pillar, empower people, focuses on the human side of things. Because as all the research shows, talent constraints are the single biggest barrier to adopting AI.
Success here isn't about just dropping some new AI tool on your team and hoping for the best. It requires a structured upskilling program like the one you see here. And what's really important is that it recognizes that your staff and your leadership have very different needs.
For your staff on the front lines, this means creating a clear learning journey. You start by building foundational awareness and confidence. Then you move to developing practical, role-specific skills. And ultimately, you empower some of them to become true AI champions who can drive innovation from inside their own teams. But even with the right skills, adoption will stall without trust. And that brings us to our fourth and final pillar, govern trust. Because you can have the best use case, the best metrics, the best training, but if your people don't fundamentally trust the system, it will fail. Simple as that. A key best practice here is to establish what's called an AI council.
And listen, this is not just another committee that meets once a quarter. It's a cross-functional group of leaders from every corner of the business. Think legal, IT, HR, operations, all working together to guide the ship.
This council really acts as the central nervous system for your entire AI strategy. They're the ones defining the vision, reviewing projects to make sure they align with company values, and monitoring performance. In short, they ensure AI is being used responsibly, ethically, and, most importantly, effectively.
Okay, so how do you put all this together? How do you start your own journey from just ambition to actual execution, and finally bridge that AI adoption gap?
Well, it comes back to these 4 pillars: identify impact, measure value, empower people, and govern trust. True success in the age of AI isn't about being great at just one of these. It's about building a balanced and strong foundation across all 4, so they actually support and reinforce one another.
And that leaves us with one final crucial question to take back to your teams. As you look at your own AI efforts, which one of these pillars is your weakest link? Which one do you need to start building first to finally turn your AI ambition into a reality?